So today I'll be making a blanket or a fro or on my Sentro machine 48. And for this blanket I'm gonna be using panels, just so I use less yarn for these panels. And because I'm making with panels, I'm going to use a double knit yarn, okay? So this is the yarn that I have here. I'm in Brazil, but I'm gonna leave on the description below if you want to use the same weight of yarn, okay? This one has 100 grams and 200 meters or 2.18 yards, okay? If you guys want to buy the same one, just 100 grams, 218 or 200 meters, you're gonna buy the same weight of yarn, okay? That's the way I kind of go through yarns that I can use and that I can't use on this machine. So I'm using 6 rows of this, which is 1200 meters. My blanket's gonna be 1 meter by 1 meter 40, okay? That's the fro size. And I wanted to make, as well as I saw online, I saw on TikTok actually, this girl, she put roses all around it. So I want to make that as well. So I made these roses that I'm gonna put all around it. If you want to go ahead and watch my rose tutorial, I made a specific tutorial for the rose because I'm gonna be using these roses in a few more patterns during the year. So you can go ahead and learn how to make the rose there. It's not very hard, and I found a way to make it like much easier. And so this beautiful 3D flower that I'm gonna be using all around my fro as well. So for these flowers, I'm gonna make around 20 of them. I'm gonna use the same weight of yarn, okay? And for the leaves, I already made one here. I'm going to use just some scrap, some yarn that I have left here. It's a little thinner, but you can use the same weight if that's what you have. Because this is a little thinner, I'm using a 4.5 millimeters hook for this one. And I'm going to be using a 575 for the thicker yarn to make the roses, okay? And I'm gonna be showing you here the photos that I used as inspiration. And I'm gonna also be sharing this tutorial on my Etsy shop down in the description below. I'm gonna be sharing the pattern, but my gauge is 15 stitches by 20 rows for each 4 inches or 10 centimeters. Okay, so I'm gonna be start making the panels here, and as well you guys can be using tubes as well. It's just make enough tubes to reach the width of 1 meter, and the number of rows is gonna be exactly the same, okay? So the only thing that changes is that you're gonna have to make more tubes to get to the same width that I have, which is gonna be around 1 meter without the roses, okay? To start this blanket or fro on my circular knitting machine, I'm going to leave this on the tube mode, even though I'm making a panel. And that's because using the tube mode, I can use 2 extra needles, okay? So I'm going to cast on the same way as I always do, just weaving the yarn inside one peg and outside of the next one, like this. So I'll be casting on 45 stitches. Start my way back, make sure after the last needle the yarn is underneath this part here, so you won't lose this stitch right on the edge. And then you can start your way back now. Okay, so I'll be making 4 rows with the waste yarn, and then I'm gonna put my other yarn, and I'm gonna be making 260 rows for each panel, okay? So 45 stitches by 260 rows if you want your fro to be 1.40 meters long, okay? Now, just to show you guys, because I'm using a double knit yarn, I just added some wax here, and I added this wax with double tape, and so the yarn goes through here, and this makes it easier to work with the red heart yarn on this Sentro machine, okay? So I'm gonna be adding now right on the beginning here, before my first needle. I'm going to add the yarn. I'm gonna leave a longer tail at the end so I can make because I'm gonna seam with the mattress stitch in the middle. So at the end, when you finish, just leave around, I don't know, it has to be a long tail for you to seam all the way up. So around 1.5 meters of tail. And so just put the yarn here, right in front of that first needle where I have my first stitch, and start working. So I'll be making 260 rows now. Getting here to the end, just always put that stitch down. That's what happens on the panel mold sometimes. And then make sure you go one needle after the very last one before you start making your way back, okay? Now guys, in case you wonder how I count the rows here, what I do is every 50 rows, in this case, you can go 20 by 20, I place a marker. So every 50 rows I have a marker and I know that I have 50. So then the way I count, I count these little knots here. Not sure if you can see, but there's little knots right here. So each knot is 2 rows. Or you can count just looking at how many V's he has, and then count 2 by 2 as well. And that's the way I count it. So I have 260 here. I'm going to make an extra row without the yarn. Okay, so now I'm going to cut a very long piece here so I can do the mattress stitch with the other panel. Just make sure I have enough here. Okay, and now you guys have to make 2 other panels with this same size, or I would think that 3 panels with 45 stitches is sort of similar to 5 tube panels. So if that's what you're making, if you're making tubes, just make around 5 tubes. So now I made all my 3 panels, and I'm going to start mattressing stitch here on the other side. So I'm working with the yarn tail that I had that I left. Okay, and I'm going to start right in this first stitch here. See, here is the corner one, and the very next one here, so I can get extra width as well on my panels, because I'm using just one stitch. That's only one stitch is gonna go inside. So I have tutorial teaching you guys how to make the mattress stitch as well. I'm gonna share down on the bottom, so if you guys want to have a look. But it's basically going 2 by 2 on this in the middle of the stitch here. So I have the V here, and I'm going to go right in the middle of it. And I'm going to repeat this all the way, going up until I finish this side, and then here again. So be careful, this is not too tight, otherwise you won't allow the blanket to stretch a bit. Okay, so yeah, and then after that we're going to make this and add an extra color here, because I wanted to have a little bit of white in the middle. So just mattress stitch them all, both panels side by side, all the way going up until you finish, and then we're going to the next step. Now that I mattress stitch all the panels together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this, because I wanted some white like in the middle, just to break a little bit the, you know, all this off-white color and kind of match with my roses that I'm gonna use as edges. So what I did here was I made crochet. So to start, just make a little crochet knot here, like this, and then put the hook through here, like right in the middle where you have the mattress stitch, and we're gonna grab this knot and pull it all the way to the top, like this. So I'm going to skip one, and I'm going to skip one here, and on the next one, right on top of that mattress stitch, as you can see, kind of on the side, or you can go through over in the middle, and then I'm going to make a loop on my hook and pull it this way. Okay, so you're kind of gonna be working a little bit blind on the loops on the back, because you're gonna skip one, put the hook through, and then make a loop on the other side and pull it. Okay, make sure, and then skip one on the next one as well. Always, and then yarn over on the hook and pull it through. Okay, so make sure these loops are not tied, because that's what we want. We kind of want this effect here that looks like a dropped stitch, and that's what I kind of wanted to do here and here. So you know it's coming out of here, you skip one and you go over on the next one. How it's gonna look like after it's done. Okay, so this is another way to do that. I didn't really want to go through the trouble of making the dropped stitch, because I didn't have an extra color as well, and I wanted to add the white, so that's why I did this way. It's faster and the result is very similar, really. And after the last loop here, just cut the yarn and remove it. Okay, and then once we finish with the crochet, that's our next step. We're gonna crochet all around it. Now I'm going to make a full slip stitch row all around this blanket, just to get rid of this waste yarn here, and so it's easier for me to then work the roses around it after. And so just make a crochet knot to start, and then I'm going to start right here in this very first loop of my knitting, this very first loop here. Just put the hook this way, pull both tight, and then pull it. And then through the second one, just like this, and pull it. Again, make sure it's not too tight, and the way to do that is you're gonna have a longer loop. The first loop is gonna be a longer loop, so this way it's not gonna be too tight at the end. And it's one stitch to every knitted stitch. So I'm gonna be going around here as well. And in here, every second row, I'm going to make one stitch. So I tried a few edges here, and I actually tried just to single crochet on the top, which I did on the side, but because on the side we're gonna have the roses, and it doesn't curl as much as here, I decided to make a different one on this side. And so the single crochet only was curling too much, so I decided to make this one. So I'm gonna show you now. It's we're going to work with double crochets, and we're gonna skip 1, 2, and on the third one we're going to make 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and then come back to that last double crochet and double crochet 2 more, all in that same stitch. And then skip 1, 2 on the third one, single crochet, and then repeat. So I'm gonna repeat this on the bottom and on the top where I'm not gonna have the roses. So it stops the curling of this blanket, and it makes it lay flat. So I'm gonna keep making this only on the bottom, okay? And here, as you can see, I have 1 stitch every second row, and that's so I did this so I don't have that many stitches here, otherwise it would be too many, so you always skip 1 when you're going this way on knitting, okay? So that's what I'm going to be doing, 1 single crochet in every single crochet on this side, and this same edging on the opposite side of this one. So guys, now I finished this, the edges here on this side, and so on this side, for this side I made all these roses. I'm still, my first idea was just attach them with granny squares, and I actually made granny squares for them, and that's something you can do as well. But then I saw the work of this woman here, Adinda's World, and she has these edges here, and I thought about making something similar. So I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to make the leaves and attach them in the middle. So I'm gonna sit and try to figure out, and then I'll come back with a solution for you guys. But as I said, you can either use make granny squares out of them, and I'm gonna put the link on the description to make them, because I'm not actually making them in this tutorial, because I'm gonna make other patterns with this flower that I love so much. So after a few tries and a few different leaves that I tested, I figured out the easiest way to do this, and it looks really cute as well. So we're gonna start in one of the corners of the side of your blanket, because the bottom has the ribbing, the edges, the crochet edges. And we're gonna start on the stitch on the very corner here, and we're gonna make a crochet knot on the other side and pull in this way, and then make one chain. After that, we're gonna make 3 double crochets in that same stitch. 2, 3, all in that same stitch, and then we're gonna grab our first flower. So we're always gonna join going this way from the top to the bottom, and on the 1, 2, 3, on the 4th double crochet here, then yarn over, grab that yarn and pull it through, make sure it's tied, and then make 3 other double crochets here. So 1, 2, 3, and then on that very next stitch make 1 single crochet, and then another single crochet, and 1 more on that 3rd stitch, and then we're going to grab the next petal of this flower, and in that same double crochet, always the middle one, put the hook there, go with the hook, go through over the top of the working yarn and put on the next stitch after, and then we're gonna pull it all at once, and then again 1, 2, 3, 4 in between both petals of the bottom, and then again that same double crochet, the one right in the middle, exactly the way I'm doing. The yarn has to be this way, has to be, and then put the hook on the other side and pull it through, and then 4 more stitches, and then we're gonna make another petal just like this one. So chain 1, double crochet 4 this time, just the corner ones will have 3 stitches, so this one will have 4, 2, 3, 4, and then again in that middle stitch put it through, and this time don't put it here because this petal is up higher, and then yarn over and pull it through, make sure it's tied again, and then make the rest of the petal with 4 more double crochets. And then on the very next stitch I'm gonna make 1, 2, and then chain 1 and make another petal. So 1, then grab the next flower, again put the hook through the next flower, yarn over, pull it through, and 4 more double crochets in that same stitch. And then 3 other stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then join with the next petal. Be careful not to twist the flower. And then over the inside the flower and inside the very next stitch, just like this, yarn over, pull it through. Like, it's important that, I don't know, but I think it's easier if you get a silky yarn that's kind of slippery, so you can make everything more tight, like I just did. I pull it a bit so the you know, these little knots are tied for after. I think it's better. And then into the very next petal here. Oops. Always this yarn has to be down there so you can grab it, and inside the next stitch, and pull it through all the way up. Make sure it's tied, and then go to the next stitch. And again 4, and then repeat the leaf for this side here. Okay, so I'll be repeating that the whole way, all the way to the other side. And for me, for 260 rows of the knitting, I used 9 flowers, okay, with this space in between them. So yeah, that's how it's looking like now. I'm gonna finish this, and then I'm still going I'll still have to find a way to, you know, put something here so the flowers are connected on the top here as well. Okay, so this is what we have now. Now my very next step that I have to do is figure a way to join these two together with another leaf, I think, coming this way. So I want to figure out the easiest way to do that. So this is the leaf I'll be making in between the roses, and it's a very easy one that I figured out it would work for this design. And I'm using a smaller needle just because I wanted this leaf to be very tight. So I'm going to make a crochet knot to start, and then I'm going to make 9 more chains. And then I'm going to single crochet in the very next chain. I'm going to half double crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to make 3 double crochets. Again, another half double. Another half double crochet. And then I'm going to join here on my next petal of this flower, right in the middle, the same place where we joined all the other parts. And then here, another half double crochet in the next chain, two single crochets on the top stitch, 1, 2, and then a half double, skip 1 on the very next one, a half double here, and then I'm going to join with the other side at the same place. And then back here, I'm going to grab that stitch right in the middle. I'm going to put my hook through, grab the yarn and make another slip stitch to join. It's ready and it's beautiful, and I already blocked this, so I'm gonna be sharing down on this end screen how you block your blanket as well to get the stitches more even. As you can see, they're looking really nice, and how to avoid the curling of the edges, and as well to make it more soft. Okay, so it's going to be a full tutorial of how to make your acrylic yarn more soft, how to steam block it, and how to wet block acrylic yarn. Okay, I'm gonna share the pattern on the description below. And on the pattern I put 6 different sizes, all the way from baby to queen size, so you have everything calculated there. And as well, for you guys that don't like to use the panel mode of your knitting machine, I'm gonna share how to make this beautiful blanket in tubes as well, okay? So thank you for watching, and I see you on the next tutorial.